Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another All Things MSP Live. We really do appreciate the community joining us for these. Now, this episode was supposed to air last week. And yes, we are still live, just in case you're wondering. This is not a recording, so please feel free to ask questions while we're doing the live stream tonight. But last week, we preempted the content that we were going to do last week with information about the Screen Connect vulnerability. We had Matt Lee on. If you didn't get to watch that, there was a lot of good information, not just about the Screen Connect situation, but also about what you should do as an MSP in general to be preparing for these types of events because they will happen. Whether, it doesn't matter whose fault it is, right? Because it's going to happen. It's going to probably happen with a piece of software in your toolkit. So there are things that you need to do to be prepared for that. Now, tonight's episode, which is what was supposed to air last week, is in regard to what I think you should be doing to prepare your help desk for AI. So we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and recognize some of our sponsors. Tonight's first sponsor is MoveBot. Data migrations are complex and irritating, creating days of frustration from setup to cutover. MoveBot was built from the ground up to fix that. MoveBot is the simplest, fastest tool for moving files and emails that there is. Fully hosted with no infrastructure, no virtual machines, none of that extra stuff, right? Sign up, connect, scan, and you'll be moving data in minutes. Move data like a pro at movebot.io. And then one of our newest sponsors, Griffin IT. Are you looking for hardware for your clients? Are you tired of old-fashioned distributors that don't care about the needs of your MSP? Afraid to purchase direct from manufacturers because they might steal your customers? That happened to me when I was an MSP. Look no further than Griffin IT. They have new and refurbished hardware, Net 90 consignment stock, which means they'll send it to you and you have 90 days to sell it before you have to either pay for it or send it back. They have a 3-year advanced replacement warranty. And to me, that's a big deal, that advanced replacement warranty. And of course, free shipping. So to register to become a partner with Griffin IT, go to atmsp.link/Griffin IT. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go do some last minute preparation behind the scenes, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. All right. Well, it wouldn't be a show without a couple of glitches, right? So, hey, we just had our glitch for tonight. Hopefully, that's the only one. All right. So tonight we are, like I said in the kind of the pre-show, that we are going to be talking about preparing your help desk for AI. Now, I know that we've kind of been a little bit focused on AI. We've done probably one show a month for the last couple of months. This might even be the second show this month on this topic. But I think it's one of the biggest things that MSPs are going to run into over the course of the next, probably several years, because this is something that has now hit the mainstream. It's something that we are going to need to deal with. So that's something that I want to talk about, and I want to give you a framework or kind of a cheat sheet for maybe how to get started with, how you should start training up your help desk on, how they're going to support AI. Because guess what? Your clients are going to call in with questions about AI. All right. So if you've joined us tonight, go ahead and put a comment there wherever you're watching. Let us know that you're here. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. So let's see here. And I probably forgot. Yep, I forgot to get started. So I'm going to have to upload this. Sorry, guys. Just a little bit of a... I just didn't prepare as much as I should have. There we go. All right. Well, I don't know why it's not uploading. There we go. Okay. Now, while we wait for it to upload, we're going to, hopefully this will just take a couple of seconds, and it's got to process. So, tonight's episode unofficially brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Give them a plug. I didn't have time to make dinner tonight, so I had to use the old Uber Eats. So while we're waiting for the slide deck to process before I can show it here, if you have a question about AI and your help desk, go ahead and put that in the comments. Let us know what some of the questions are that you have around that. And I'm going to go ahead and check, because not all of the comments come into the live streaming software. So I want to make sure that everybody's getting to see that. All right. So let me add that to stage. There we go. Okay. So preparing your help desk for AI. Let me expand this a little bit. I think this is a great topic because it is something that everybody's going to run into. And the first thing that I think we need to talk about is training the team, because your team is going to get questions about this, right? So how do we approach training the team about this? I mean, there's lots of different things we can do. And in terms of basic information, I think that there are a lot of great YouTube videos out there that can teach them the basics of what AI is, what machine learning is, what large language models are, what generative AI is, all of those different things. Now, chances are they're techs. They've probably already started using some of these things, so they're kind of familiar with them already. But it would be a good idea to give them some more content based on the actual usage within your client base, right? And every one of us is going to be different. So this is not exactly a training for your help desk. This is meant to help you put together the training for your help desk, because everybody's MSP is different. I truly believe that, you serve different clients, you serve different verticals, different sizes of clients, and they may use AI differently. And you need to gear this towards your client. And so I'm going to have some hints and some tips in here later on for exactly how to do that. Now, when we're talking about how to do this, how to, start, training your team, where do you start? Well, I broke it down into 3 sections. You want to figure out where your clients are going to use AI. Are they going to be using ChatGPT? Are they going to be using, Bing or Gemini or, DALL-E, all of these different things that they now have that is part of the AI ecosystem. Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, both have built-in AI now. So those are things that your clients are going to need to know about. Other thing, how will they use AI? What are they going to do? Are they going to use it on their phones? Are they going to use it on their computers? Are they going to use virtual or augmented reality? We just had the Vision Pro come out from Apple, and that's a new thing. We've had, some VR before, but this really takes it into the next level of AR plus VR, right? So there's all these different places that they might use it. And especially if you're doing residential, that could be very different than using it in a business. So you want to kind of know where they're going to use it, how they're going to use it, what platforms they're going to use it on, what hardware they're going to use it on, those kinds of things. And then I think of paramount importance is, how do we teach clients how to use AI safely? That's an important thing. And I think that's something that everybody needs to be considering as they're training not only their staff, but training their clients as well. And I think training clients is a real opportunity here for MSPs to not only prevent tickets from being created in the first place because they're training their clients proactively around AI, but it also is going to generate revenue conversations. What can they do with AI? How can you, as their technology service provider, help them engage AI, leverage AI to run their business better? Okay, so let's start with something simple. And this is just kind of a sample. This is not, the end all be all, but let's talk about ChatGPT. This could be Gemini. This could be some of the other generative AIs out there. I chose to use ChatGPT as the example. These are some of the questions that they might get on the help desk. Why doesn't ChatGPT understand my question? What do I do when an answer seems incorrect? How can I verify that the answers from ChatGPT are accurate? That's a big one with hallucinations, right? Because ChatGPT has been known to make things up. And we just saw in the news this week that Google Gemini is doing the same thing. So lots of stuff around this. How do I save and refer back to previous ChatGPT conversations? Obviously, that's going to be platform specific. So that goes back to needing to understand which platforms your clients are going to use. And then what happens with data that I share with ChatGPT? I think that's something that your help desk needs to know the answer to, so that your business, your MSP, sounds knowledgeable about this topic. And that's one of the things that I want to stress here. One of the reasons you're doing this is to make sure that when your clients call in, that your staff is knowledgeable on these things, or at least knowledgeable enough to have a basic conversation around AI. Now, I answered some of these questions, and you're probably going to want to create longer, more detailed answers to include in a knowledge base article or an FAQ. But, why doesn't ChatGPT understand my question? Well, the complexity of your question or the ambiguity of your question, this is something where maybe in addition to this, you create some content on creating prompts, specific knowledge or updates. ChatGPT, as well as the other AI large language models, don't necessarily have the most up-to-date information or specific knowledge on a highly specialized topic. So that might be something that they have to train it on, right? They might have to provide it some resource material in order to get better answers out of it. Language and phrasing, this is still kind of in prep mode. We're still adding new languages to things. And yes, the way that you phrase things is important, because ChatGPT may not catch on to some of the subtle things in the way that we type or we speak. So lots of things to do there. What do I do when an answer seems incorrect? Ask for clarification. This is one of the great things about ChatGPT, is if the answer doesn't seem right, you can ask again. And you can clarify by adding more information, giving it more resources to draw from or to reference in answering those questions. Rephrase the question. This kind of goes back to the previous slide. And then Also verify externally. This kind of goes back to those hallucinations that we were talking about before. If you are using this for especially highly data driven or technical or specific answers, especially when they contain numbers or, like I said, data, you're going to want to check those resources and make sure that those numbers are correct. Now, a lot of times with ChatGPT, if you have the paid version, it will refer back to the source article that it came from. So you can use that feature and functionality, and you're going to want to teach your clients how to do that as well, so that they can, on their own, verify some of this information and go back to the source material that ChatGPT or Gemini is using in order to create the answer. How can I verify that answers from ChatGPT are accurate? Now, this is a little bit similar to the last question, right? But it's just diving a little bit deeper. Consulting authoritative sources, the websites, the articles, and sometimes it even helps to give those websites, if you have the paid version of ChatGPT, you can actually give it websites to read. Although I have found, just kind of a footnote here, I have found that recently ChatGPT has had some problems getting data from certain websites. I don't know if it's due to maybe potential copyright issues or things like that, but that's also something that if they're not getting the information they want and they've referenced a particular website, it may be that ChatGPT is kind of limiting liability there, and that's something that they might need to know about. Use fact-checking services. They're out there. They can use them. And then one of the things that you should always do when you're developing content or you're researching something is cross-reference multiple sources. Don't take just one source. I mean, this has happened to everybody, right? You've searched on Google. We're not using any AI. We're just searching Google, right? And it comes up with an article. We read the article. We think it's great information. So we create some kind of derivative work based on some of that information. And that article turns out to be wrong. So it never hurts to cross-reference multiple sources to make sure that they are in agreement. Okay, and what happens with data that I share with ChatGPT? Well, data usage. They need to know that the information that they provide is going to be used to improve the model's responses or for research purposes. Now, for the open large language models, you need to be aware that you should not be putting sensitive data into those. And I'm sure you are, but you need to make your clients aware of that as well. And that brings up privacy issues, right? We don't want to be putting personal information into those large language models that are open. Right now, if we're using something like Copilot in Microsoft 365, where it keeps the data inside of your 365 instance, that's a little bit of a different story. And that's something I would suggest you fully research. And again, that's a topic for your techs to be trained on, so they're fully versed in what their clients should be using inside of Copilot versus the difference between that and maybe ChatGPT, right? And data retention. You need to check the policies on how long data is stored on some of these different platforms. What is the terms of service? What is the privacy policy? Any of the platforms that your clients are using, you should know the terms of service and the privacy policy if they're using AI. So definitely something you want to check into there. All right. Now, I'm not going to go through that whole example like I did for ChatGPT for Microsoft Copilot, but keep in mind, most of your clients are using M365. And I don't know how many of them are using Copilot yet. I would imagine that some of them are. Some of them at least have probably asked you about it and asked how much it is. And so this is going to evolve, and they're going to start integrating it into their workflow. And so you need to know about Copilot or Gemini in Workspace. Things like, where do I find Copilot in Word, Excel, PowerPoint? How do I manage access to certain users? Maybe they don't want all of their users using Copilot. And so you need to help them figure out how to kind of navigate that. Now, I know in a lot of cases, you're probably going to manage that access for them, but it's a question that they're going to have, right? Is their corporate data safe when using Copilot? Now, the little research that I've done into this says that the data that you put into Copilot stays within your Microsoft 365 instance and doesn't go outside of that. So it only works within your, corporate instance. And something like, do files need to be in OneDrive or SharePoint to be used with Copilot? So there are certain features of Copilot that will only work if the file or document or whatever it is already in OneDrive or SharePoint. So that's something that you want to keep in mind as well. And one of the things I want to point out is there are lots of FAQs out there that already exist that you should be compiling into a list so that you have the ability to reference these things quickly, send them out to clients quickly to answer their questions, things like that. All right, so I'm going to very quickly here check the chat. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead and put those into the chat window, because we're here for community learning, right? This is not the Eric Show, although it's kind of turning into that so far. But what I really want to do here is I want to create a conversation. That's what we always want to do here on All Things MSP, is create a conversation around these different topics. Now, we kind of talked about the problems with those first couple of slides. And now I want to talk about some more prescriptive, some things that you can actually do, things that you should start, should put on a checklist, if you will. And that's creating some content and guides. Now, one of the probably, I think, most important things that you can do for some of your clients who are starting to dip their toe into the world of AI is to help them with formatting their prompts. A lot of the success in using especially generative AI comes from correctly formatting your prompts. Now, the interesting thing about this is that there are a lot of different ways to do it, right? So what you're going to want to do is figure out what prompt formats work best for your client. This one that I have on the screen, this one is relatively generic. You want to give it a task. You want the task to be clear, right? You want to give some type of context. We talked a little bit earlier about giving it resources to use and things like that. So you want to give the AI enough information specific to what you're talking about, what you want the answer to be kind of framed with, right? You want to give it some basic information, some background information to kind of help it. I think the wording there is constrain the possibilities. Okay. This will lead to a much more accurate and relevant answer when your clients are using AI. Exemplars, fancy word for examples, right? Again, you're giving an example to the AI of how they want this, how the data should look. Okay. I'm not talking about the format yet. I'm talking about examples of how the data should look or what it should describe, or, just anything like that. If you can give it examples, the AI will learn from those examples. Persona. A lot of times it helps to tell the AI who you want it to be. Frequently when I'm generating, because I generate titles and some things, I use AI to help me generate some descriptions and stuff like that. When I do that, I tell the AI, okay, you are a social media marketing manager with 10 years experience. You've worked with these different social media channels and blah, blah, blah. So that it actually gets an idea of what type of experience it should have. And it goes out there and it actually uses all of that information to pull together a more specific answer or response to the question. Format. This is always important because, like ChatGPT, you can format things in a lot of different ways, right? You can have it return it as rich text. You can have it return it as a table, as markup. There's just a lot of different ways that you can tell it to format the data that makes it even more useful to that end user that's trying to get that information out of it. Tone, as this is especially important when you're doing marketing content, right? And I do, want to say that you should probably make sure that your clients know that they need to be careful about creating uh, marketing content and just letting Chat GPT or some other AI just do it and then they copy and paste. It's usually not going to give you the best results. But as it's giving you results, you should tell it, I want a casual tone, or I want a formal tone. Those kinds of things can dramatically improve the response. The other thing that you can do is you can type up, say, your own marketing content and then hand it over to ChatGPT and say, I want you to take this content and make it sound more exciting, or I want you to make it sound more formal, or I want you to make it in the voice of, I don't know, somebody that you want to have that information, that marketing material better, reproduce. So lots of different things that you can do here. There's lots of different formattings and prompts that you can use based on the type of response or the type of information that you're trying to get ChatGPT or another generative AI to give you a response for. So that's number one. That's the first piece of content I would probably do. You can do this as an FAQ. You could do it as a little class. You could do it as a video. Lots of different ways that you could create content around that. Okay, so this is probably the second thing that I would recommend, maybe the first, but definitely at least the second. And that is a how-to guide on how to safely use AI. Because there are three main things that I think we need to worry about, right? Privacy and data security. Okay. That's number one. They need to be, and by the way, this is something that you can do as for them as part of a service, right? Is make sure that you and they are completely aware of the privacy policies of the different AI platforms that they're using. Okay. And that they shouldn't be sharing sensitive data into those large language models. Okay. Lots of important stuff there. That's a very brief description of a topic that you could expand a lot on. And something that I definitely recommend you do is, create a how-to, a safety guide for AI for your clients. Verification. We talked about this earlier, right? AI models are vulnerable to hallucination and even more diabolically, data poisoning, okay, where people are going out there and intentionally feeding these large language models the wrong data to produce the wrong results, right? So there is a certain amount of trust but verify with AI. It's a great tool. It can save you a lot of time, but you can't trust the results 100%. You need to have some type of verification process, especially when you're asking the AI for data. And then, of course, plagiarism. This is one that I don't think a lot of people have come up with yet. They talk about the top two a lot, and we've heard about the image poisoning that some artists are doing to make sure that their art is not being plagiarized by these AI engines. And it's very important as a business that you don't plagiarize somebody else's content just simply through the use of AI. Now, I would hope, I haven't done a lot of research, this is on my checklist to do, is there's so many platforms using AI. Take one, I use Canva, for instance. I don't use it a lot to generate AI images, but I mean, what's the policy there? What's the terms of service? Does Canva guarantee that if they generate something in terms of an image from AI, that it is copyright free? I don't know that answer, but those are good questions that we all need to be asking about the platforms that we are using, because you can get into a lot of trouble using somebody else's material, especially when it comes to marketing. So I think that is that kind of third leg of the stool that really needs to be mentioned in terms of how do we safely use AI. All right, going to check real quick again. This is the problem of using a new teleprompter, right? Because the screen is very small. I can't have everything open at once because I'm trying not to look at the screen below. I'm looking at the brand new teleprompter up top. Did that so that, I'm connecting more with you guys. All right. No new comments. Hey, please, if you have a question, put it in those comments. Let me actually go over to the actual streams to check there, because sometimes like I said, the comments don't always show up in the live stream software. All right, no, we're clear. Okay. So next one, you need to build a library of FAQs and knowledge base articles. This is both, I consider the FAQs for your clients and the knowledge base articles for your internal use, right? And these are going to be any kinds of resources, documents, whatever, that is going to help both your techs and your end users navigate the use of AI. Now, first thing, you need to have platform specific articles. Okay. They need to be whatever the platforms are that your clients are using. Those are the ones that you want to build those FAQs and KBs for. Prompt engineering and formatting. Again, you could probably create a very quick document that gives them just a handful of choices as to how they're going to adapt AI for their use, and how they're going to use the different types of prompting and formatting to get the right results and get results in a format that are most useful to them. Data safety and security around AI. How-to guides are great, but it's always good to have specific FAQs, especially by platform. And there's a lot of probably security information that you may want to have in a KB article that you wouldn't necessarily put into an FAQ for end users. And then probably an FAQ on hallucinations and accuracy of results, especially when they're using generative AI. Okay, and here we come to the kind of the larger projects, right? You do want, I think, in my opinion, if you want to be more proactive about this and actually set yourself up as an industry expert in this area, you want to make sure that you're creating video content, courses, and maybe even doing some in-person training. Now, I think the big benefit here is, number one, a lot of this stuff can be used as lead generation material, right? They're great for your existing clients, and you should create them with the aim that by watching these videos, doing these courses, doing an in-person training in their office, that you are going to be reducing the number of tickets that come in about AI, because that's part of the point of this, is making sure that you are increasing your operational efficiency by having these clients actually teach or learn themselves based on content you give them on how to use AI, so that they can answer their own questions rather than having to open a ticket with Helpdesk, right? That's going to help with your operational efficiency. Now, these videos, these courses, and these in-person trainings even can be used as lead generation. Make them public, okay? Make them available to the type of customers that you want. Gear them towards your existing customers, which will automatically gear them, hopefully, okay? Gear them towards the new customers that you want. And that's important, right? Because we want to put information and content out there into the world that's going to attract the right kind of customer for your MSP. And these are just some examples, right? How small business can leverage AI. That one would probably be a great one for lead generation, not just new prospects, clients, but also for your existing clients. This could actually generate some project work, right? And if you include some sections in that on why it's important to have a policy and make sure that they know the policies of all the platforms that they're using, that can actually generate some project work for you. We talked about that in the live stream. In fact, if you want more details on that piece of it, probably go watch the recording of the live stream that I did with Corey Kirkendall, because we dove into that subject a little bit deeper than we will tonight. And then platform specific courses. Those are always going to be important because they're going to want walkthroughs, how to's of the very specific platforms that they're using. Advanced prompt engineering. You've got some smart clients. Maybe you have some clients who are really into data and AI. There are probably some things that you can do as their technology service provider in order to help them create those more advanced prompts, because there are some prompt engineering that they call it engineering for a reason. You can do basic prompt formatting, but there is some true prompt engineering that can happen. You can make very specific responses and very good responses happen if you are very, very good at creating your AI prompts. And then, of course, we always have to talk about safety and security. And so, with AI, there's a lot of things that are happening. Things are evolving because it's a brand new technology, not a brand new technology so much, but in the way that we use it, right? So we want to probably continue to update that one, especially because it's going to change, and the way we use it safely is going to change very quickly as this evolves and as more and more people are using it. All right. So just put this together really quickly, kind of calling it the pathway to success. But this is the kind of 4-step sequence that I see an MSP going through to get up to speed on AI with their team and with their clients. So first thing, you're going to want to train the team, right? Basic AI, large language models, all of those different kinds of things. Give your team a good base of understanding what AI is and how most small businesses are going to leverage it, right? And then create content to respond. Okay. Training the team is one thing, but actually creating the FAQs that they can share with end users and creating knowledge bases that they can reference as they're working tickets will go a long way to helping with that operational efficiency that we talked about before. Now, this is something, the third one up there at the top in gray is something that we didn't talk about yet. Okay. That is capturing your ticket data. Okay. You want to be reviewing all of the tickets that are coming in about AI so that you can go back and create more content to respond. Okay. That's how you're going to know what questions you need to answer in the content. And then, as well as in the 4th step, which is why I put it before the 4th step, to create training for your clients. I think it's important to probably look at what tickets are happening before you create those trainings for your clients. And that training can be in videos, it can be in some type of LMS, a learning management system that you stand up for your clients and actually create courses in. It can be stuff that you put on YouTube. It can be larger articles or even like a workbook, let's say. But create that training for your clients because, number one, like I said before, you can use that training, those videos, whatever it is, not only to prevent tickets coming into your help desk, but also to help you generate leads for those clients who are having questions and trying to leverage AI in their business, but don't know how to. All right. And that is the end of the slide deck. I would love it if there were any questions. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat window of whatever platform you're watching this on. I will say that if you have questions later on, please go ahead and go to the Facebook group. It's just facebook.com/groups/all things MSP. Go there. You can ask questions in there. And there's lots of other MSPs. There are other people talking about AI. There's, this is where we have the conversations, folks. So join that group. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and just switch this back. And let's go ahead and check. Nope. Don't see any comments. You guys are a very quiet crowd tonight. So if you're here, go ahead and just type your name in the comments, or go ahead and tell me where you're from, whatever it is. Or better yet, ask a question that we can address here on the show. Because otherwise, this might be the end of the show tonight, which is fine. I didn't expect this to run the whole hour tonight. And we don't have to run the whole hour, because I do, I like to kind of keep these open, keep them going. That's why we frequently, when we have a guest on the show, which is most of the time, right? I kind of try and toss an educational piece of content in here every once in a while, like this. But when we have guests, we frequently go right up to the end of the hour. I did not grab a slide tonight from Marvin B's show, but I know that Marvin B is on at 8 o'clock. He does have a live stream tonight. So that is something that you're going to want to look into. And then next week, I will be back with a regular live stream. And then I will be doing double duty again, because Marvin and Paco and a bunch of other people that you probably know out there in the community, we're all going to be on a live stream featuring Super Ops. And it looks like Marvin is in the house. So Marvin, thank you very much for joining the show. And I am going to try and join your show tonight, as I usually do. But sometimes, it takes a lot out of you to do one show. Being on two can be tough. And then Ed Roberts says, timely topic. Our clients are asking questions about ChatGPT and Copilot. That's why I decided to do this kind of mini course, if you will, because I wouldn't call this a course on how to do this, but I think it does give you a pretty good idea of how to go about creating a course, not just a course, probably more like a framework or a to-do list on what to do to kind of get your help desk up to speed, get your clients up to speed, more of a prescriptive type of solution. So the other thing I guess I would ask is, if you are interested in the slide deck that I showed tonight, please go ahead and mention that in the comments, and I will DM you. I'll do something and let you know how to get a copy of that slide deck. And yeah, if there are no other questions, then we will probably, well, hold on, because I got to make the sponsors happy, right? And we have a brand new sponsor, Produce 8. The headlines in the business media are filled with reports of companies struggling with employee engagement, productivity, and increasing levels of burnout. We've all seen it, right? The digital workplace has become so distracting that it's getting harder and harder for anyone to find the time to get things done. This is why Produce 8 was born. They were inspired by the success of behavior-changing health, fitness, and financial management apps. Produce 8 is an analytics tool that acts like a personal coach for your workday. It will align your entire MSP business around the one thing everyone wants: better, more productive, and more sustainable workdays. Recover 90 minutes a day. 90 minutes a day. Can you imagine that? Empower your team members with an extra hour and a half every single day. You could get started with Produce 8 in 3 different ways. You can give Produce 8 to your employees to work on building better work habits personally. You can bring the team together. Sorry. to understand and fix challenges like excessive meetings and collaboration. Or you can use it to start unlocking the kind of work days you personally want to have. Sign up at produce8.com, get set up in minutes, and by the end of the week, you'll know where your time is going and what's holding you back. With Produce 8, everyone can recover 90 minutes back in their day and get more accomplished in less time. Oh, well, obviously, now that the cough is started to come in, it probably really is time to wind the show down. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and like, subscribe, ring that bell to make sure you're notified when I post new videos. And if you're not in the Facebook group, I definitely recommend. We have, I think it's a little over 5,300 MSPs in the Facebook group now. Go join, make sure that you're engaging in the conversations. If you have questions, there are plenty of people in that group who have been where you are. So ask the question, get an answer. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great evening.